Cybercrime is any criminal activity that involves a computer, network, or network device. While most cybercriminals use cybercrimes to generate a profit, some cybercrimes are carried out against computers or devices to directly damage or disable them. Others use computers or networks to spread malware, illegal information, images, or other materials. Some cybercrimes do both, i.e., target computers to infect them with a computer virus, which is then spread to other machines and, sometimes, entire networks. A primary effect of cybercrime is financial. Cybercrime can include many different types of profit-driven criminal activity, including ransomware attacks, email and internet fraud, and identity fraud, as well as attempts to steal financial account, credit card, or other payment card information. As cybercriminals might target an individual's private information or corporate data for theft and resale, it's especially important to protect backup data. The U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, divides cybercrime into the following three categories. 1. Crimes in which the computing device is the target, for example, to gain network access. 2. Crimes in which the computer is used as a weapon, for example, to launch a denial of service, DOS, attack. 3. Crimes in which the computer is used as an accessory to a crime, for example, using a computer to store illegally obtained data. The Council of Europe Convention on Cybercrime, to which the US is a signatory, defines cybercrime as a wide range of malicious activities, including the illegal interception of data, system interferences that compromise network integrity and availability, and copyright infringements. The necessity of internet connectivity has enabled an increase in the volume and pace of cybercrime activities because criminals no longer need to be physically present when committing a crime. The internet's speed, convenience, anonymity, and lack of borders make computer-based variations of financial crimes such as ransomware, fraud and money laundering, as well as crimes such as stalking and bullying easier to carry out. Cybercriminal activity can be carried out by individuals or groups with relatively little technical skill or by highly organized global criminal groups that could include skilled developers and others with relevant expertise. To further reduce the chances of detection and prosecution, cybercriminals often choose to operate in countries with weak or non-existent cybercrime laws. How cybercrime works. Cybercrime attacks can begin wherever there is digital data, opportunity, and motive. Cybercriminals include everyone from the lone user engaged in cyberbullying to state-sponsored actors, such as China's intelligence services. Cybercrimes generally do not occur in a vacuum, they are, in many ways, distributed in nature. That is, cybercriminals typically rely on other actors to complete the crime. This is whether it's the creator of malware using the dark web to sell code, the distributor of illegal pharmaceuticals using cryptocurrency brokers to hold virtual money in escrow, or state threat actors relying on technology subcontractors to steal intellectual property. Cybercriminals use various attack vectors to carry out cyber attacks and are constantly seeking new methods and techniques to achieve their goals, while avoiding detection and arrest. Cybercriminals often conduct activities using malware and other types of software, but social engineering is usually an important component of executing most types of cybercrime. Phishing emails are another important component to many types of cybercrime, but especially for targeted attacks, such as business email compromise, in which an attacker attempts to impersonate, via email, a business owner to convince employees to pay out bogus invoices. Types of cybercrime. Cybercriminals have a plethora of cybercrime types to conduct malicious attacks. Most attackers carry out cybercrimes with the expectation of financial gain, though the ways cybercriminals get paid can vary. Specific types of cybercrimes include the following. Cyberextortion. This crime involves an attack or threat of an attack coupled with a demand for money to stop the attack. One form of cyberextortion is a ransomware attack. Here, the attacker gains access to an organization's systems and encrypts its documents and files anything of potential value, making the data inaccessible until a ransom is paid. Usually, payment is in some form of cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin. Cryptojacking. This attack uses scripts to mine cryptocurrencies within browsers without the user's consent. Cryptojacking attacks can involve loading cryptocurrency mining software to the victim's system. Many attacks depend on JavaScript code that does in-browser mining if the user's browser has a tab or window open on the malicious site. No malware needs to be installed as loading the affected page executes the in-browser mining code. Identity theft. This type of attack occurs when an individual accesses a computer to steal a user's personal information, which is then used to steal that person's identity or access their valuable accounts, such as banking and credit cards. Cybercriminals buy and sell identity information on darknet markets, offering financial accounts and other types of accounts, such as video streaming services, webmail, video and audio streaming, online auctions, and more. Personal health information is another frequent target for identity thieves. Credit card fraud. This is an attack that occurs when malicious hackers infiltrate retailers' systems to get their customers' credit card or banking information. Stolen payment cards can be bought and sold in bulk on darknet markets, where hacking groups that have stolen mass quantities of credit cards profit by selling to lower-level cybercriminals who profit through credit card fraud against individual accounts. Cyberspionage. This crime involves cybercriminals hacking into systems or networks to gain access to confidential information held by a government or other organization. Attacks are motivated by profit or ideology. Cyberspionage activities include cyber attacks that gather, modify, or destroy data, as well as using network-connected devices, such as webcams or closed-circuit TV cameras, to spy on a targeted individual or groups and monitoring communications, including emails, text messages, and instant messages. Software piracy. This attack involves the unlawful copying, distribution and use of software programs with the intention of commercial or personal use. Trademark violations, copyright infringements, and patent violations are often associated with software piracy. Exit scam. The dark web has given rise to the digital version of an old crime known as the exit scam. In today's form, dark web administrators divert virtual currency held in marketplace escrow accounts to their own accounts, essentially, criminals stealing from other criminals. Common examples of cybercrime. Commonly seen cybercrime attacks include distributed DOS, DDoS, attacks, which use a network's own communications protocol against it by overwhelming its ability to respond to connection requests. DDoS attacks are sometimes carried out for malicious reasons or as part of a cyber extortion scheme, but they can also be used to distract the victim organization from some other attack or exploit carried out at the same time. Malware is another common cybercrime that can damage systems, software, or data stored on a system. Ransomware attacks are a type of malware that encrypts or shuts down victim systems until a ransom is paid. Phishing campaigns help attackers infiltrate corporate networks. Phishing includes sending fraudulent emails to users in an organization, enticing them to download malicious attachments or click on malicious links that then spread the malware across the network. In credential attacks, a cybercriminal aims to steal or guess victims' usernames and passwords. These attacks can use of brute force, for example, by installing keylogger software or by exploiting software or hardware vulnerabilities that expose the victim's credentials. Cybercriminals can also hijack websites to change or delete content or to access or modify databases without authorization. For example, attackers use structured query language injection exploits to insert malicious code into a website, which can then be used to exploit vulnerabilities in the website's database, enabling a malicious hacker to access and tamper with records or gain unauthorized access to sensitive information and data, such as customer passwords, credit card numbers, personally identifiable information, trade secrets, and intellectual property. Other common examples of cybercrime include illegal gambling, the sale of illegal items such as weapons, drugs, or counterfeit goods, and the solicitation, production, possession or distribution of child pornography. Effects of cybercrime on businesses. The true cost of cybercrime is difficult to assess accurately. Cybersecurity Ventures reported that global cybercrime grows by 15% annually, with it expected to reach $10.5 trillion by 2025. While the financial losses due to cybercrime can be significant, businesses can also suffer other disastrous consequences as a result of criminal cyber attacks, including the following. Damage to investor perception after a security breach can cause a drop in the value of a company. Businesses could face increased costs for borrowing and greater difficulty in raising more capital as a result of a cyber attack. Loss of sensitive customer data can result in fines and penalties for companies that have failed to protect their customers' data. Businesses might also be sued over the data breach. Damaged brand identity and loss of reputation after a cyber attack undermine customers' trust in a company and that company's ability to keep their financial data safe. Following a cyber attack, firms could lose current customers and lose the ability to gain new customers. Businesses might incur direct costs from a criminal cyber attack, including increased insurance premium costs and the cost of hiring cybersecurity companies for incident response and remediation, as well as public relations and other services related to an attack. Effects of cybercrime on national defense. Cybercrimes can have public health and national security implications, making computer crime one of DOJ's top priorities. In the U.S., at the federal level, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, Cyber Division is the agency within DOJ charged with combating cybercrime. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, sees strengthening the security and resilience of cyberspace as an important homeland security mission. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, a division of DHS, aims to improve the resilience and security of cyber and physical infrastructure. Other agencies, such as the U.S. Secret Service, USSS, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, have special divisions dedicated to combating cybercrime. USSS Electronic Crimes Task Force, for example, investigates cases that involve electronic crimes, particularly attacks on the nation's financial and critical infrastructures. USSS also runs the National Computer Forensics Institute, which provides state and local law enforcement, judges, and prosecutors with computer forensics training. The Internet Crime Complaint Center, a partnership among the FBI, National White Collar Crime Center and Bureau of Justice Assistance, accepts online complaints from victims of Internet crimes or interested third parties. How to prevent cybercrime. While it isn't possible to completely eradicate cybercrime and ensure complete Internet security, businesses can reduce their exposure to it by maintaining an effective cybersecurity strategy using a defense-in-depth approach to securing systems, networks, and data. Organizations can reduce cybercrime risks with the following. Develop clear policies and procedures for the business and employees. Create cybersecurity incident response plans to support these policies and procedures. Outline the security measures in place about how to protect systems and corporate data. Use multi-factor authentication, MFA, apps or physical security keys. Activate MFA on every online account when possible. Verbally verify the authenticity of requests to send money by talking to a financial manager. Create intrusion detection system rules that flag emails with extensions similar to company emails. Scrutinize all email requests for transfer of funds to determine if the requests are out of the ordinary. Train employees on cybersecurity policies and procedures and what to do in the event of a security breach. Keep websites, endpoint devices, and systems current with all software release updates or patches. Backup data and information regularly to reduce the damage in case of a ransomware attack or data breach. Information security and resistance to cybercrime attacks can also be built by encrypting local hard disks and email platforms, using a virtual private network and using a private, secure domain name system server. Cybercrime legislation and agencies. Various U.S. government agencies have been established to deal specifically with the monitoring and management of cybercrime attacks. The FBI's Cyber Division is the lead federal agency for dealing with attacks by cybercriminals, terrorists, or overseas adversaries. Within DHS, CISA coordinates between private sector and government organizations to protect critical infrastructure. The Cybercrime Center, C3, within ICE provides computer-based technical services that support domestic and international investigations included in the Homeland Security Investigations, SHI, portfolio of immigration and customs authorities. C3 focuses on cybercrimes that involve transborder illegal activities. It is responsible for finding and targeting all cybercrimes within SHI jurisdiction. C3 includes the Cybercrimes Unit, Child Exploitation Investigations Unit and Computer Forensics Unit. Various laws and legislation have also been enacted. In 2015, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime released a Cybercrime Repository, a central database that includes legislation, previous findings, and case law on cybercrime and electronic evidence. The intention of the Cybercrime Repository is to assist countries and governments in their attempts to prosecute and stop cybercriminals. Cybercrime legislation dealing can be applicable to the general public or sector-specific, extending only to certain types of companies. For example, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act focuses on financial institutions and regulates the implementation of written policies and procedures to improve the security and confidentiality of customer records, while also protecting private information from threats and unauthorized access and use. Other legislation has been established to deal with specific cybercrimes, such as cyberbullying and online harassment. A little over half of U.S. states have implemented laws dealing directly with these crimes. For example, Massachusetts law cites that cyberstalking is a crime punishable with a fine of up to $1,000, a maximum of 5 years in jail or both. In Tennessee, online harassment and stalking is considered a Class A misdemeanor, and a convicted cybercriminal can face a jail sentence of, at most, 11 months and 29 days, a fine of up to $2,500 or both. It could be on your computer, and you might not even know about it being there. It could also happen with the smartphones that you use every day without your knowledge. All it would need is a small virus file or any of your important credentials that must be secured. With the vast growth in technology and the usage of networks in digital gadgets, it is now more important than ever to have a proper cybersecurity protocol. With this rapid and vast growth of users for digital computers and internet-enabled smartphones, the target only becomes easier. Once upon a time, there was a very high demand for these handy smartphones with very limited accessibility. But now that it is easily available for a very low and affordable price, every smartphone becomes a target for some other type of cybercrime. This makes it easier for cybercriminals to set their plots and traps to trick smartphone users into hacking into their accounts for confidential details. Cybercrime can happen in any form, be it a blackmail threat or a data breach for confidential or personal data. And the most targeted among all these smartphone users are the ones who own them but do not know how to use them properly. This makes them an easy target. Hence, it is very important to implement cybersecurity protocols and also spread awareness to prevent any form of cybercrime from happening. As obvious as it sounds, cybercrime is an illegal act of security breaching into any other individual's device with no authorization for any illegal activity. Any crime done or performed with the involvement of a computer or a computer network is called cybercrime. The most usual cybercriminal activity that occurs is with cybercriminals, or hackers, targeting easy targets for money. The second most common case is with hackers that target confidential or personal data for blackmailing and many other reasons, like threatening, etc. It does not mandate that the target be targeted for a reason. Some do it for threatening, some do it for money, some do it by choice, and some do it by force. Some crimes are even organized by an organization. Due to the advancement in technology and methods, it is now even more important for every business and organization to take action against such breaches and cyber threats. Though we have talked about a few major types of cybercrime, it is important to have a clear idea of the topic. The following are the main types of cybercrime, and we shall also talk about a few examples and their prevention methods. 1. Fraudulent and identity theft activity. In this type of cybercrime activity, individuals experiment with various techniques, such as phishing emails. With this method, individuals are tricked into revealing sensitive and personal data, like financial credentials. Using this stolen data, hackers perform fraudulent activities like unauthorized financial transactions. Identity theft involves making an identity impersonation to bring the individual's reputation down. Examples: individuals being scammed to reveal credit card details. Manipulating victims to reveal their social account passwords. Prevention methods. Multi-factor authentication helps prevent unauthorized access. Regular examination of card and transaction activities. 2. Social engineering. Phishing activities. In such cybercrime activities include the use of depictive methods to lead individuals to reveal confidential information such as login credentials, etc. This also involves exploiting human psychology to manipulate individuals into performing unethical activities. Examples: emails impersonating reputed organizations requesting sensitive information. Misleading individuals to share financial details. Prevention methods. Being skeptical of unwanted communication. Verifying authenticity before sharing sensitive information. 3. Malware attacks. Malware can be commonly compared to viruses, but it can also be any other malicious software that is designed to disrupt the security of a system. This allows the hackers to gain access to all the confidential and sensitive data through a network connection without the knowledge of the users. These malwares are implemented into individual systems through unidentifiable sources like email attachments or through interfaced websites. These attachments contain various malware types like viruses, ransomware, and spyware. These malware programs are hard to find since they are disguised as legitimate programs. Examples: ransomware attacks encrypt sensitive files and demand payment for their release. Installed Trojan horse viruses provide unauthorized access. Prevention methods. Downloading files or visiting unfamiliar websites with caution. Using legitimate antivirus software to detect all malware. 4. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking is one of the most commonly occurring incidences that have emerged in the past few years. Anyone can be a victim of this type of cybercrime. With this type of cybercrime, victims are exposed to unwanted pursuits through digital and social media. Cybercriminals use threatening messages and spread false information, leaving victims in distress and eventually causing fear and mental damage. This ends up putting a burden on them, through which they often experience social anxiety and severe emotional and psychological consequences. Examples: harassment through social media. Invading privacy and initiating surveillance using digital tools. Prevention methods. Limiting personal information's availability for a secured social interface experience. Documenting and reporting incidents to the appropriate authorities. 5. Financial fraud. Despite the risk, this type of cybercrime has been taking place in large numbers, and it still tends to increase. In this case, the major targets are the individuals involved in online transactions. With the wide number of online users, the target only grew wider and easier for hackers. Criminal activities in this case include carding, fraudulent purchases using unauthorized card credentials, online scams, unauthorized fund transfers, and many other such activities. They tend to exploit vulnerabilities in the financial ecosystem and operations, weakening the digital payment systems. Examples: unauthorized access and fund transfers from online banking accounts. Creating replicated payment cards for fraudulent transactions. Prevention methods. Monitoring financial statements for suspicious activity. Implementing encryption protocols and secure payment gateways. Other types of cybercrimes. Despite the above-mentioned cybercrimes, the following are a few other types of cybercrimes that have occurred in the past few years. 1. Data breaching. Data breaches usually occur when cybercriminals gain unauthorized access to sensitive organizational information, such as financial records and personal data. Such crimes also have a significant impact on financial losses and identity theft. Hence, it is important to regularly update security patches. 2. Online scams. Such scams often emerge from social engineering techniques used to manipulate individuals into sharing confidential financial credentials. These frauds encompass a wide range. Awareness and vigilance are the keys to securing all your confidential and sensitive data. 3. Cyberbullying. In this digital era of social media and social influence, anyone can be an easy victim of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a type of harassing act performed by criminals. Using the same social engineering and cyberstalking methods to collect confidential and personal information, these data are misused to perform harassment. For victims, such activities only result in distress and even lead to long-term psychological consequences. 4. Ransomware attacks. Ransomware attacks have been a major threat, having a significant impact on both individuals and organizations. Such attacks usually involve exploiting the security of the system to gain unauthorized access to confidential files. These files are then encrypted before demanding a ransom payment in exchange for their release. Victims of ransomware attacks suffer significant financial losses. In this rapidly growing digital world, where everything is interconnected, cybercrime poses a major threat to any individual who is a victim of it. Hence, it is important to identify the types of cybercrimes with examples, which helps identify the type while investigating it. Utilizing and implementing prevention strategies helps in avoiding such malicious attacks and proactively securing all authorizations. This also helps organizations foster a cybersecurity conscious culture to create a safer digital environment for everyone. These cyber attacks happen on a very large scale. It is important to first learn the prevention methods and then implement them in every other situation. And prevention starts with a good education, and the most important key to this is vigilance. Visit Sprint Zeal and skyrocket your skills. Thank you for watching this video.